Let's get super negative today, like as negative as you can possibly be. You ever hear anybody tell you that? Well, I'm going to right now, because we're going to dive into something that I think is really important, and it's called negative clarity. And what negative clarity is actually taking inventory of things that you no longer want in your life, in your business, what you do and don't want to do. And sometimes negative clarity even comes down to who you will or won't work with in the business. So let's jump in. Where did negative clarity come from? Well, recently, this past year, I read a book called Vivid Vision by Cameron Herold. I highly recommend that book. The biggest lessons that I got out of that book was understanding, and by the way, it's a business book that as I read it, I converted it to personal lessons, so it was good for both business and personal. But here's really the thing that I heard in it was, in order for me to become the man I want to be over the next 3 years, there are things in my life that I need to not be doing in order to become that person. And so you take somebody, so one of the people that I admire that I'm following this year in my CEO journey is Dan Martell. And so when I watch his content and I watch his things, I'm going, in order for me to run $100 million company, what does that look like? So you start watching his habits, watching his context, watching how he shows up. And you start to see, well, there's some things in my life that don't quite align. And in order for me to be a better person, I need to take out these things in my life. Negative clarity is also inside business, but let's stay personal for a second. So think about this. If you want to run an Ironman in 3 years, what are the steps you need to take, not to accomplish the Ironman, but what are the steps you need to take things out to become a runner? So you start thinking like, what don't runners eat? Well, they don't eat a bunch of peanut butter cups in the morning, right? So let's not do that. They don't eat gallons of ice cream at night, so we're not going to do that. So you can start to actually be negative in the clarity of the things that you don't want in life. So I got real clear and negative clarity that I didn't want alcohol in my life because it did these things and it was holding me back from becoming the person that I ultimately wanted to be. And there's some success, there's some impact, there's some other things that I couldn't get to while the bottle had a hold of me, right? So I had to get my head and my heart reconnected. The other piece about negative clarity is looking at who you want to become personally in your health and fitness journey. By the way, you define your definition of success. It's the thing that I teach my real estate agents all the time. Stop living in a comparison world. Stop living in an instant gratification world and start picking up the habits to build the life that you want to live, right? So if you want to have a six-pack, abs, and you want to be extremely healthy and physically fit, you have to commit to not doing certain things. Like for me, even if I was drinking or not drinking while you're trying to get fit is super smart. That's negative clarity. I know that doing this is not helping. I know that eating ice cream at night is not helping. I know that skipping the gym doesn't help, right? These are all negative clarity pieces of things you don't want in your life in order to become the person you want to be. Now, let's take it into the business side. The business side is being clear on, number one, who is your client? Right? Like you should know who your client is. Like you are my client. We're talking about real estate. Now, let's go one step further. I have a piece that some of you have heard, some of you have not. I have a quote that I use in every conversation, which is, I will work with you, I will not work for you. Why is that important? Because real estate is a team sport. And it takes everybody in it to get it across the finish line. We're not selling a freaking product. It's a house that has people, that has variables, that has all these different things. So we want to be very clear in my client conversation that we work together. I'm not your employee. You're investing in experiences in what we've done, not in what I've told you we can do. You see the difference there? Is that you're hiring me based on what I've done, not the empty promises of what I think I can do. Because by the way, anybody promising what this is going to look like, you shouldn't believe them because they don't know. And just look at some of the different times in our market when that comes down to it. So negative clarity on knowing who you won't work with, right? So if somebody comes to you and they want you to massively discount your services or doing it for free, it's probably not your client. But I also would say, well, who is your client? Now let's get positive clarity. Who is your ideal client? Where do you want to take your business? Well, if you're negative on the things that you don't want in your business, I'll share something. It's like if you're an entrepreneur or you're a business owner, you may not want to, if you're localized, so let's say you're in Peoria, you don't want to deliver to Queen Creek. So you just say, we don't go to Queen Creek. You're clear on that because you know the cost, time, and energy it would take is not worth it. It's called the juice is not worth the squeeze. So being negative on the things that you don't want to do is really, really important because it will give you extreme focus on the things that you are going to do. So if you know that you're just focused on these things, that's what you're going to do, then that will drive you to who and where you want to be and where you want to go. You see, what's really fascinating about it is that if you focus on what you are doing and you've left this list of what you're not doing, it's very similar to a diet. Every time we tell ourselves we're going to start a diet on Monday, we take negative clarity, and the negative is we can't have this, we can't eat this, we can't do this. It's all the I can'ts, which means mentally you're depriving yourself. So mentally, I can't do any of these things because these things make me happy. And just like any other diet, you feel deprived, so you might make it a day, maybe two, or you really have to struggle through it, versus the reason this is such a problem is because you're not focused on the positive outcome, you're more focused on the negative. So the only reason to be negative is just to get it off the list and know that these are the things you don't want so that you can focus on the things that you do. Hope you guys enjoyed that content. It's just something that I wanted to share with you, not just real estate life, but really the things that I'm learning in my life so that hopefully it makes an impact on you. And most importantly, for those of you that don't know me, you get a chance to know where my head and my heart is, and we can connect at some other point.